That was crazy. Um, Yo, what up, what up? Man, no studio this morning. It's breakfast time. Eat some breakfast, then I gotta do my hair. Then I might go in the studio. Or I might be lazy and play video games. Who the fuck knows? Just feeling like a game day. You know? I finished the painting the other day. That shit getting so much positive feedback. I started another painting yesterday. So feel like I'm in a good spot right now where I can play some games today. All right. Waffles and eggs.
Connected to FBI wiretap.
Damn right you connected to an FBI wiretap.
Top 10 ancient infantry. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
When you listen to reason, when you open your eyes, you may be surprised. Yeah.
When we go to investigate the Bible, not only do we have this problem about not knowing who the authors are, most of it, and not having original copies, we find that the Bible is contradictory to itself in places, contradictory to science in other places, and incorrect in its some of its historical findings.
And there's been a lot of changes, and look at the library that was, and the books that have been burned over the ages, the libraries in Alexander that went up in flames. There's been a lot of stuff lost. So
right.
secular history is always going to record everything, and so, but that doesn't mean that
so you're saying what you're saying is that because there's a possibility that there might have been extra biblical evidence in the Library of Alexandria, that's enough. But you don't have it. You don't know that evidence even exists.
I'm not saying that that's going to satisfy everyone. But
why should it satisfy anybody? Well, I mean, you could say that there's extra biblical evidence buried under the Sahara that we just haven't found yet. That shouldn't be good enough for anybody.
Well, but everyone's personal experience and their whole when they read the Bible and they and they gather information from it as a historical record. And you look at these things. A lot of it happened. What happened there with Herod is, of course, symbolic of the whole thing that happened with Moses, the
Right.
children killed. So they was trying to picture that. And
Right, so
whether
it's
there's
metaphor
a
and not
secular
history.
record of it not doesn't mean it didn't happen. It doesn't mean the first time that type happened in Egypt when those children were slaughtered, there may not be a secular record for that either.
Right, so it's metaphor and not
Actually not.
history.
So, but we can't say for sure that that story is not true because there's no other secular record. Sometimes there is a mesh where there's secular record, and it all seems to work out.
But you want to be very, very careful about assuming that something is historically accurate when there isn't independent corroborating information, or even when there's just a few points that can be corroborated. Like the story of the Trojan War was believed to be entirely mythological for a long time until they dug up the city of Troy. Well, just because the book describing the Trojan War references a city called Troy that we find out later actually existed, doesn't mean that therefore Zeus and Hera and Apollo and Ares are all real.
And that ties into something you said a minute ago, where you said you can't prove that those stories didn't happen. Well, you can't prove that the stories of other religions didn't happen, and yet.
Right.
So why would you call you? Well, you're not a churchian, but you rely on the Bible and use that view of God. Why not the Quran? Why not any other scriptural text of any other religion?
Well, I've not studied the Quran in depth, but I've studied the Bible in depth.
So you're accepting the first one that you've studied?
Well, I'm looking at it at the main meat of everything, and whatever intersects with it, I'll be glad to look at, and that's where I come to look at the Quran. But that's only because of my study of the Bible that it led me there. But so yeah, I am concentrating on that because it's the only thing that I see in the whole world that seems to point to that, and where I can get my information about that, about God. And so that's why I look to those things.
Okay, Stan, but we've been trying to find out what it is, what the criteria is that you're using that to justify, taking that particular book of ancient stories that references some places that we know actually existed and has some corroborating evidence for some of its non-supernatural claims, and saying that one's true when there are all kinds of other books in the world that are the same, that make some verifiable claims about some non-supernatural things, and yet we reject those. We reject the idea of the Greek gods. Why reject that and embrace Christianity and embrace the Bible? And the only justification you've given us is you picked the Bible first and you're going with it. Which is fine. If that's your criteria, fine. But would you mind saying that's what your criteria is?
Well, I'm not saying that there is a criteria for going out and picking your religion. I guess what I'm saying is my own personal way I grew up in this world and my experience, and what brought me to the point of looking in the Bible in the first place is why I choose and believe in God and the God of the Bible. And, that's because of the way things worked out in the world.
Okay.
And so it's just personal experience. So,
right.
And you have your own personal experience too, why you don't believe in God. And that's why, because of your personal experiences along the way.
No.
Well,
my lack of belief in God is not because of some esoteric experience. I was a Christian for 25 years, and my lack of belief is due to direct study and an investigation to find evidence to support and come up with any good reason to believe.
And here we are. You studied the same book I did, and I studied, but the different ways that we grew, I guess, in this world.
The difference is that I studied more than that book.
And on top of that, Stan, we do have standards of evidence, right? Rational, hard-nosed, skeptical standards of evidence that we use.
Your evidence is no more evidence than my evidence.
Oh, yes, it is.
I'm afraid so.
Well,
Now you may reject our if you
go by the argument that you can't prove something that.
Stan, hang on.
Okay.
Hang on. Now, if you reject the skeptical, hard-nosed, rational standards of evidence that we apply when we decide what to believe and what not to believe, if you reject those standards, then it's no surprise at all to hear you saying that our evidence is the same as yours, right? I don't know what to do about that except, urge you to maybe, take the whole thing a little more seriously to where...
Sorry.
The dog's mad at us now.
No.
If you took the whole thing more seriously, you'd embrace a more serious standard instead of just picking up the Bible because you were raised and your life experiences led you to it. Okay, we're going to have to let you go, Stan.
Okay, well, thank you for your call.
Bye-bye. Good luck
to
with
me.
the dog.
Bye-bye.
Oh, that was... Poor Stan.
On the one hand, it depends on what you're talking about. When he's saying that, your evidence is the same as mine. No. Actually, it's not. And first of all, that's not the situation. When we're talking about just atheism, atheism is a lack of belief. And basically, the type of claim determines what type of evidence is sufficient to justify belief. And if I set my evidentiary bar about here, and Christianity only comes up to here, then I don't believe it. Right. And so I lack that belief.
Knives Out has been nominated for 3 Golden Globe Awards.
I found it delightful.
Including Best Actor...
Alex in Colorado, thanks for waiting.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good.
Okay, that's good. I'm a theist.
Okay.
I wanted to ask why you don't believe in God.
Well, first of all, I guess we can start with which God, but basically for every God that someone has presented, I have seen insufficient evidence to warrant belief.
Okay. What evidence, though?
I have seen insufficient evidence to warrant belief in any of the God propositions.
Well, what if belief is based on faith?
Then I have no use for it because you can believe anything on faith. I can believe that you're a better person than me and take it just on faith. I can believe that I'm a better person than you and then take it just on faith. Faith is not a pathway.
But we all believe something on faith.
Okay, so first of all, I don't necessarily think that that's correct, depending on how we want to define faith. But if you're saying that evidence is not sufficient, but yet you should believe on faith, then that type of faith that you're describing, belief in the absence of evidence or in the face of evidence to the contrary, I have no use for that because it's not a pathway to truth. There's nothing you couldn't justify with that kind of faith.
But you believe in things without evidence as well.
What do I believe in that I don't have evidence for?
Like the past, that the world's real.
I have a direct experience of the past. My belief is not the past actually occurred. My belief is I have an experience and recollection of the past, independent of whether it actually occurred.
And I say the same thing about God.
You say the same thing about God?
I have a direct experience of God, just like you can't prove the past is real, but you have a direct experience of it.
That shit don't make no fucking sense, bro. I have a direct experience with God.
Well,
Proof.
It doesn't really matter for this point.
You know how I can prove my direct.
Yeah, like we all believe something.
My direct experience with the past.
Direct experience with
Any scar on my body just didn't appear out of nowhere, so it had to happen in the past. Scars, anything. What up? Motherfucker talking about, oh, well, you can't prove that the past happened. I can't prove that certain events or certain thoughts happened in the past, but you can't prove that the past has happened. Motherfuckers call in with the weakest, asinine arguments about, oh, why are you an atheist? Well, you have faith, you have belief, you have belief in the past. That shit ain't make no fucking sense. Yeah, obviously we can believe in the past. We have evidence that the past has happened. I have evidence that I was alive yesterday and I went to work. Like, you don't, it's the same thing with me and God. I have no way to prove. Like, then don't fucking believe that shit then.
What you're calling God, and therefore you believe.
I have mountains of evidence that the world is real. You're basically trying to go down this path that if we believe something in the absence of absolute certainty, which I would say there's no path to absolute certainty, that then we are exercising faith. And my response to that is...
No, that's not what I'm doing. You're defining my position as something it's not. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you don't have any evidence whatsoever when it comes down to it. Like when we talk about what
I don't have any evidence for what when it comes down to it.
For the world being real. So you would say your experience of it, but you can't prove that your experience of... Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so basically you're talking about the problem of hard solipsism. How do I demonstrate or how do I understand that the world is in fact real? And all I can say is that I experience it and evidently so does everybody else around me.
And I say the same thing about God then. I don't...
No, because everybody else around you
doesn't experience God.
How do you know that?
Because I'm around you and I don't experience God. Checkmate.
Right, but what if my experience of God tells me that it's not true, just like your experience of the world tells you something about the world being real that you can't prove?
That's where we step outside of the individual's opinions and assessments about whether or not they're evaluating reality, and you go to independent confirmation. This is why science doesn't just rely on, hey, I saw this happen and here's my interpretation of it, therefore this is the truth. Instead, we go out and we investigate independently to see if we can consistently produce reproducible results about reality.
Right, but that's all based on some assumptions you would have to agree with, right?
So I have a number of presuppositions that are foundational because there's no other solution. Identity, non-contradiction, excluded middle. The fact that while I can't prove that I'm not stuck in the matrix, I have to operate with the reality I experience until somebody shows me a way out. But apart from that, everything else is derived from those foundational presuppositions, which are the same ones that you have to make. The problem is you're adding another one.
I don't see like you just said there. Sorry if I misquote. You said you have to believe in the world that you're directly experiences until somebody shows you a way out. I could say the same thing about my belief in God.
Except that now you are adding another thing that you're claiming that you have to believe, and I don't have to believe that until somebody shows me a way out.
I could just say that these laws are rooted in God's nature, and you're adding these things unnecessarily, and I have to let.
Okay, if you say that these things are rooted in God's nature, demonstrate it.
Demonstrate it.
Okay, but no, that's not the point, right? When you're talking about metaphysics on this level, you can't prove that the law of non-contradiction is true and all that.
But no, that's not the point.
So that is the point. Let's say identity, non-contradiction, excluded middle. I presuppose them. They continually demonstrate that they are reliable within the reality I experience. However, you rely on them as well, correct?
Yes.
And you are saying that the reason they're reliable is because they are rooted in God, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That is the part that you need to demonstrate. That would require a demonstration. You are going a step further than what is justified by reason.
Why do you have to demonstrate that this...
I'm not proposing that I know what the explanation for the logical absolutes are. You're proposing that, and that's why you have a burden of proof.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so I do believe that there's some evidence of God, but do you acknowledge that, like, most evidence, including science, is based on induction, not absolute certainty, something that we...
I just acknowledge that I see no pathway to absolute certainty at all. And yes, a lot of it is based on induction and induction.
Why are you fixated on absolute certainty? I'm curious about that.
Yeah. Actually, if you go back in the call, Matt was the first one to bring that up. I never brought that up.
So the fact that you didn't say the words doesn't mean you didn't bring it up. When you say everybody believes things, when you say that everybody believes things based on faith, and then you talk about what you mean by faith and how you're just going to believe something based on faith.
Yeah. What
you're actually doing is arguing that in the absence of absolute certainty, we must still make decisions, and I agree with that. The fact that you didn't say...
I disagree, but we'll just...
Okay, hang on, we disagree on what?
Do you think
you're defining my usage of faith is belief and without absolute certainty. I would say faith
So
is
you
belief
have to-
without evidence.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, belief without evidence. Now it's even worse.
Yeah.
I don't think so because
You're wrong.
I want to move on from this.
You're wrong.
Okay.
You are demonstrably wrong.
Yeah.
We all have to believe things, whether or not we could possibly be absolutely certain. We have to make decisions about what's real
I agree.
because we're acting. Okay, so whether or not there's absolute certainty, we have to make up our minds about things. And I would hope we would agree that there are at least some things that we can't be absolutely certain about, and yet still have to make decisions.
Do you
Right?
agree that there's some propositions that you believe that you have absolutely no evidence for?
The presuppositions that I talked about don't have any foundational evidence, but they continue to provide evidence of their reliability. It's like saying, I picked up this pencil and I have no idea, I have no evidence, that this pen works. But then I start writing with it, and now I have evidence for its reliability. To say that this pen it works is different from demonstrating that it works.
You sound like a religious apologist. I could say that same thing with God. Once you pick up God and start using it, you realize that it's effective and
Please
true.
demonstrate
So
that God.
please, I can show you this pen works. Can you show me that God works?
Okay. Well, okay. So that's why I kind of wanted to move on from that. I do think that.
Are you going to
wait a
answer
minute.
the question, or are we done?
Well, I know the responses that you're going to give, so not to your satisfaction.
Well, I knew what you were going to say before you said it too, but this is a show, so maybe we should say it. Can you demonstrate God the way I can demonstrate this pen?
No.
No, but
No, don't put a butt on it.
The analogy is the.
I swear,
Okay, go ahead.
don't put a butt on it. The answer is no. So don't pretend that the two are on even footing. When you argue as if they are on even footing, that is dishonest.
I think your analogy is flawed, though, because we're not talking about the pen, talking about the laws of logic. Can you prove that the laws of logic are absolutely true?
Yeah, I can demonstrate that they are consistently reliable and that they seem to be. There's no demonstration of anything that violates them, and any attempt to disprove them would have to assume that they were true in order to disprove them, which sets up a paradox.
Right. Okay. Yeah, okay. I would just say God's more foundational than that, but I know you disagree with that.
And how can you possibly demonstrate that?
Well, the same way you do, it's a presupposition, right?
No.
Hey, are you guys watching this on PlayStation? Are you on your PlayStation, on PlayStation, the Playroom, or PlayStation Live, or are you watching this on a different device? No comments. No comments. Well, the reason I asked the question is I'm willing to open up a chat room for anybody who's actually on PlayStation and wants to have a conversation about religion and the belief in a God. Love talking about this shit, but I don't personally know very many atheists. So instead of being able to actually talk about this shit, I have to listen to different programs like this. But I mean, it wouldn't bother me to talk to anybody if you believe or don't believe. I just want to know the same reason they do this show. Why do you believe or not believe that there is or isn't some prime mover or divine entity, creative force, or whatever?
No, I did not claim that the presupposition was the demonstration. I claim that there is a presupposition and then a demonstration of reliability based on that. All I asked was, how can you demonstrate that God serves as a foundation for those absolutes?
Right, yeah, I can't do that. That's
okay, you can't do that. So why would you believe something that you cannot demonstrate?
Well, okay, that's why I wanted to get on to my next point, because I think it can be demonstrated through induction.
I just asked you if you could demonstrate it, and you said no, and now you want to get on to your next point.
So not through that specific example, but through another argument.
So how many of these arguments are we going to
that's what I'm
entertain?
gonna say. How
Because
many
typically
different-
people
what do you
lead with their
want?
best one.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, all right, sorry, all right. So can I just tell you like what I think a God is, and then
Sure.
you can tell me if.
Yep.
Okay. So I believe that God is a transcendent, immaterial, timeless, spaceless, eternal, uncaused, extremely powerful entity that created the universe. Is that something that would qualify as a God for you?
Well, I mean, it's your definition of a God. So does it qualify as a God
Well,
for
I'm
you?
saying if I could demonstrate that.
I mean, God wouldn't have to vape because God is everything. So he is vape, I guess. He's everything, man. God, he can just smoke himself. You know what I'm saying? God just gets high off of being God. 'Cause he's so godlike, you know? When you're godly, you just vape yourself, bro. This motherfucker walking on clouds all day. Huh? Now you got me thinking. Can God create an object that's too heavy for him to lift? Bong hits for Jesus. And nice spin. Does God vape? God doesn't need to vape, man. Yes and no. Because he's God. Of course. It's like he's good and he's evil. Yo, listen, bro. Dinosaurs don't exist. Dinosaurs never existed. That's just a trick that the devil played on humans to confuse you to believe that the earth is older than it is, because that's what young creationists say. Hey. This is what the religious scholars tell me. The earth is only 10,000 years old, man. Anywhere from 6 to 10,000 years when you go back to Adam and you add up all the years of the lineages of all the families, and then you add a couple years for missing time, whatever. 10,000 years at the most. So, 65 million years ago, dinosaurs, the Triassic, the Jurassic, the Paleolithic. We don't really need to discuss those. You know, because God gave man dominion over all the animals. And Noah built the ark, and Noah put 2 of every animal on the ark, plus all the germs and the bacterias, because he had to get 2 of them. But germs and bacteria attack us and they control us. But we supposed to have dominion over all life. But we can't really. See, now you just got me confusing myself. Back to the dinosaurs. Man, dinosaurs are fake. Fossils. The fossil record is fabricated. The sedimentary lines that you can see in core samples, that shit don't mean nothing. Because God did it. God did all that. In 7 days. 6 days. 5.5 days? He did it in less than a week. And he only took 1 day off. So dinosaurs, Sminosaurs. Ain't nobody got time for that. This motherfucker want to talk about extinct reptiles that had feathers and shit. Man, I'm talking about your Savior, the baby Jesus. Big baby Jesus. God decided to tell us his story 2,000 years ago. I know everybody say, oh, modern man has been around for 250,000 years. 250,000 years? I don't think so. 10,000 years at the most. Jesus vaped himself. You know? Jesus lit the bong for God, and God passed the bong to Jesus, and he said bong hits for Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Christ. And when Jesus hit the vape, you know what he said? God damn! Oh, my bad, my bad, Father. Oh, God damn, that shit was. Oh shit! My bad, Dad. It's all right, son. I'm God. I knew you were going to say that. Because God is Jesus. Black people, huh? Man, Jesus was blonde-haired and blue-eyed. In the Middle East, he was able to hide in Egypt because he blended in with everybody else. That's how you hide. You gotta blend in. You gotta camouflage yourself. So that means everybody looked the same, you know. But hey, God said He created a garden called Eden, where all the good green vegetables and plants grow, right? So think about a garden. When you think of garden, right? And the garden is growing. It's growing out the soil, the dirt, the earth, right? So that's what garden is. It's, you gotta have good dirt and earth to grow anything. Now what's the opposite of topsoil? It's sand. Now sand has no nutrients or nothing. That's why shit don't grow on the beach. That's why God ain't say, oh, I made the beach of Eden. He said He made a garden, right? And plants and shit grew. That means the soil had to be like dirt. It was dark and brown. And then He said He made man from the earth, which is dark and brown. But Adam and Eve was white. So, and Jesus was white. And that's just how it is, you know? And that's why men have nipples, you know? Because we came first. Because the man came first, but God thought that He would just be cool by Himself with the animals, even though all the animals had mates. You know, all the animals got mates and shit. But God only made man because He's smart now, because God's smart. God's smarter than I am. He's God. You know? But He forgot, like, oh, Adam needs some pussy too. So, you know, so He made a woman, or the womb of man. Womb man, woman. Because man came first, right? And it's funny because that shit was like the first surgery. Because God could have just like pick up some more dirt and blow the breath of life into some more dirt and be like, woman. But He couldn't do that for some reason. So He said, Adam, I'm going to place you in a deep sleep, like anesthesia. Then He said, I'm going to take this rib, like some kind of surgery. And then He said, I'm going to close up the wound. Well, how you wound Him though? You God. Why don't you just reach in His body and pull it out? God-like. Or you had to put Him to sleep and then cut Him open and take some shit out of His ass and then stitch Him back up and then use the rib to make woman. And then from then on out, it will only be the woman who can bear life and put life forth into the world. But the first time, it was the man who did it. And that's why we born with nipples, because we just need nipples, right? Because I use my nipples for they help my shirt fit better. And sometimes Sometimes I use my nipples for I don't know. But women have a really practical use for their nipples and their mammary glands. But don't worry, because God, that's how God made us. Ain't that right? Does Jesus vape? Of course Jesus vapes. This motherfucker. Man, if you was living in the desert, you had to wear some old crappy ass sandals all day, your feet hurting, trying to be a carpenter, design new furniture that nobody don't understand and shit. You probably have to vape too, shit.
That would that falsify your position?
Falsify my position.
What position?
So first of all, my position is that I am not convinced that a God exists. And my position is not there is no God. But second of all, you listed off a bunch of things, and I didn't get a chance to write them all down.
Okay.
But I'm presuming that you have them in front of you in a written form.
Yeah. You would like me to read it again?
Read the list one more time.
Okay, transcendent, immaterial, timeless, spaceless, eternal, uncaused, extremely powerful entity that created the universe.
Entity or agent?
Okay, well. And this is the main thing about God, because if God is timeless and spaceless, then how can he interact with time and space? If he is outside of time and space, and we have to bend to the laws of time and space, then how can God interact with that shit? And if God is outside of time and space, why would he give a fuck about a particular group of people at a particular time in a particular space? Oh damn, I don't mean to be asking them questions like that. My bad.
Entity. Say.
Okay, so you're not proposing that this God that you're defining is an actual thinking being?
Well, let's just figure out if this is something that would qualify as a God, and then, like, if it doesn't, then maybe I could add that.
Well, so my concern is not whether or not it would qualify as a God. My concern is whatever you define, do you have good reason to believe that that's the case?
Yeah, so I'm saying if I could demonstrate this entity exists, would that make you not be an atheist? That's basically what I'm asking.
No.
Okay, so that doesn't qualify as something as a God.
Well, I would be an atheist with regard to your definition of God, I would no longer be an atheist with regard to your definition of God, but I would still be an atheist with regard to every other God that's been proposed.
Like if I could prove that this being exists, would you still have the show?
Oh, you just said being. I thought we said it wasn't a being.
Entity. Sorry.
Well, okay. So you've got a bunch of characteristics. one of them is timeless, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So existence is necessarily temporal. What do you say about something that exists for 0 seconds?
Well, I would say it exists eternally.
So something that exists for no time exists eternally?
Well, I don't mean timeless in that context. I just mean timeless in the sense that it's apart from time. It's not within our...
What reason do we have to think that anything could be apart from time?
Okay, because we know that the universe began, and we know that it can't begin from nothing, so we know that something has to exist apart from it.
So we don't know any of those things.
Okay, well, we can debate that, because I have good reasons for all those things.
Yeah, the problem here is this. We can't explore beyond the Planck time. And when we talk about time, we're talking about time in our local presentation of the universe. We don't have any notion at all about whether or not time is even a sensible concept prior to the instantaneous after Big Bang cosmology, assuming that's correct.
Well, we have 4 good reasons to believe that the universe began and no good reasons to believe it didn't.
We have a good reason to believe that our current local universe had an origin, but that's independent of whether or not the cosmos or a multiverse.
That's the context I was using it beside. We have 4 good reasons to think that the cosmos began and no good reasons to believe it to be eternal, so I regard that.
I have no good reason to think that the cosmos isn't in fact eternal, that there has never been a time when the cosmos didn't exist.
Okay, but that's not what we're talking about. Is no beginning, not a first moment in time.
What? I have no reason to think that it is impossible that the cosmos is not eternal.
Okay,
how do you demonstrate that the cosmos had a beginning?
Okay, all right. So this is what I want to do, right? So like I said, it's not like, right, we're not talking about absolute certainty, we're talking about most likely true. So if I can show the premise to be more likely true than not, then we can move on and say that the premise is more likely true than not. So I would say reasons why we should believe the universe...
No, cosmos.
Began. Sorry, yes. The cosmos began. Would be the fact that it's expanding.
You don't know that. I'm talking about the cosmos, not our local universe.
Well, we know our local universe is expanding, and that's enough for the argument.
That's not enough for the
I'm expanding. That doesn't mean the Earth is expanding. The fact that our local universe is expanding. Actually, I've lost 30 pounds, so I'm no longer expanding that way. But the issue here is about the cosmos, and the funny thing.
I agree, but here my argument just needs the universe to be expanding because
I don't care. That doesn't address the cosmos.
No, I'll explain why. Because something expanding for an infinite amount of time will lead to contradictions.
Except that our universe hasn't been expanding for an infinite amount of time. Our universe has been expanding for 13.7 billion years. And the cosmos may or may not be expanding. You have no way to evaluate that, or for how long, or if time even applies to the cosmos.
Okay, but we know that the expansion is speeding up, right?
No, you don't know anything about... What do you know about the cosmos? The only thing you can evaluate is this local universe. You can't evaluate the container for this local universe, whether it's a multiverse, whether there's some other cosmos. You don't know anything about it. You don't even know if it exists.
I don't know if what exists.
The cosmos. Maybe our local universe is in fact all there is, or maybe it's expanding in something else that you don't have any way to investigate.
Right. Okay, yeah, I just when we use the cosmos, I'm just talking about all of whatever exists, if that's just our universe.
Yes, the cosmos is what we typically define cosmos as all that exists. But you don't know what exists beyond our universe, do you?
Well, I have good reasons to think that nothing does other than something that causes
How do you have good reasons?
Okay, so now, despite the fact that you can't explore beyond our universe.
That's the thing that most people, they just make these wild ass assertions instead of being brave enough to say, I don't fucking know. We don't know. What the fuck is past the horizon of our universe? Nobody fucking knows. What's on the other side of the event horizon of a black hole? You don't know. You don't know. Well, I have good reason to believe. Who gives a fuck what you believe? Like, you can't explore that shit. Well, what happened? What was there before the Big Bang? You don't know. And just say that shit and just stick with it and try to use science to figure out as much as we can. Well, how did life start? How does abiogenesis work? We have a hypothesis, but we don't know. We don't know. But it still doesn't mean like God is how. Like, get the fuck out of here. It's not logical enough.
You think that you have good reasons to not only conclude that something other than the universe exists, but that the only thing other than the universe that exists is the thing that created it.
Right. Well, okay, so I'm making the argument that the cosmos began, right?
How do you demonstrate that? Because I have no way to explore the cosmos or its origins or determine if it had origins.
Okay, so I'll lay out the four arguments like just in 10 seconds, and then you can explain what's wrong with them. Okay. So, like I said, the expansion rate of the universe, which you talked about,
that doesn't tell me anything about the cosmos? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, we can, okay. Born-Guth-Vilanken theorem.
That has nothing to do with the cosmos?
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, it does. And the impossibility of infinites that leads to contradictions. So
that's three. Yeah. Which, by the way, I don't see any demonstration that the infinite is impossible, especially if you're going to be making an argument for something infinite.
But it exists outside of time, so there isn't the kind of.
It exists outside of. It exists outside. Your infinite exists outside of time within our local universe. That doesn't tell me anything about the cosmos or a multiverse. And by the way, you only gave three, not four.
Well, no, I'm saying that a multiverse or anything that exists apart from our local regime of space that we call the universe would have to have space, right?
No. How did you determine that?
Well, what you're saying that a multiverse could exist, but it's immaterial?
I don't know what the multiverse can or can't be. I'm wondering how you made this determination.
Well, how did I make this determination? Because, well, if you're going to say that the multiverse is just something that's immaterial, then I just said it's a god, then I don't...
Well, see, the multiverse is a hypothesis about a broader aspect of the cosmos whereby which universes might be generated, and our local universe would be just...
This dude sounds like a real teenager, like a smart-ass kid, yo. He's probably, like, super, super smart in school. And if he's not a teenager, he's a young person, but he would consider himself smart because everyone he knows tells him like, you're fucking smart as shit. Plus he believes in the Bible. And now is the first time, because Dillahunty is smart as fuck too. Now is the first time, and he's like, you know what? I'm smart enough to call this fucking atheist show. I'll shut this show down because I have perfect arguments. And no, he's calling in here and he's having his probably first real debate ever. And has had every card that he's thrown on the table is being challenged. And he doesn't know what the fuck to do because he has used these same arguments with other people in his everyday life, and they don't have a rebuttal for it. Now he's called the wrong fucking show, and they're like, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, and you left one out.
One of potentially many. But we don't necessarily know anything about any of those at all. I mean, we don't have any ability to explore them.
Right. Well, we have no evidence of it, and I think for good reasons to think that it doesn't exist.
We've only given three.
That's why, like physicists like Vilanken will say that we almost certainly know that the universe began, and there's no way.
Yes, he's talking about the universe, and we're talking about the cosmos.
No. He's talking about all the cosmos. He's talking about all the cosmos. If you read his book, Many Worlds, he specifically says that we know beyond a reasonable doubt that the cosmos began, that there was a beginning there.
Okay.
So I would consider that premise more likely true than not.
Okay. So let's say for a second that I conceded that the cosmos had a beginning. I'm not doing that, but let's say that I did.
Okay.
How does that get us to, therefore, there's a God outside the cosmos?
Okay, so do you want me to read the quote really quick or no? Are you good?
We're almost out of time.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we would say that something can't begin without a cause. And
I don't know that.
Cause would then...
Yeah.
I don't know that. Causality is temporal, and our only ability to evaluate causality is within the temporal dynamic of our universe. We don't know how time might operate or what something else might be that we might call like time or quasi-time or whatever.
Well, so you're saying it's rational to believe that it could just pop into existence?
No, I'm not saying it's rational to believe it could pop into existence. I'm saying that the claim that it couldn't has not been demonstrated.
Well, you have to be saying that the position that it can pop into existence out of nothing by nothing is more rational than the idea that it can't.
No, because I'm not talking about nothing. I'm talking about cosmos. I have no problem with the idea that when no, we're not. I've never spoken about nothing until this point in the conversation.
No. If my premise holds true of it all beginning, then before that there was nothing. That's why, I'm I'm not necessarily buying that. Plus, this idea, and I'll be sitting down with Lawrence Krauss in June in Toronto, and I'm what? I have tickets to that.
Cool. So we'll be able to talk about this universe of nothing.
Is saying I'd rather learn mind control rather than black belt racist. Because I just got banned for some trumped up charge. I don't see how mind control or any type of mixed martial arts is racist, so that is kind of weird, bro. That is quite peculiar, to say the least. Now, that being said, obviously I don't know what the context of the conversation was prior to you saying, well, I'd rather learn mind control. You know? So, but yeah. That is a direct impediment on your freedom of speech, my good sir. Tonight, I shall shed a tear, for another voice of dissent has been silenced. Maybe I should have waited till tomorrow to do my hair, because The Matrix 4. So, for a laugh, I know Kung Fu. Yeah, I don't see any kind of racism there. Now I'm going to have to ask the obvious question, though, which is, are you a racist? And have you ever said anything that would lead someone to believe that you may be a racist? Because if you are you if you appear to be, then everyone is going to attack you for every little thing you do. Even saying, I'd rather learn mind control. You fucking piece of shit, racist, Trump supporting bigot. I'm gonna ban your channel. You'll never say that shit again. Talking shit about a black belt. What the fuck? Oh, cause the belt is black? Really? So you're gonna learn mind control for what? So you can beat up people with black belts? Or beat up black people wearing belts? Which one? Matrix my ass. Somebody boo this man. Boo! Boo! Hiss! Hiss! Darian Brown. Almost sounds like a name that I wouldn't want to listen to. His name sounds like my name. That's like me saying, hey, you should watch Travis Prince. And you'd be like, Travis Prince? That doesn't even sound appealing at all. You should watch Darian Brown. Bro, I'm gonna look up Darian Brown right now. Just because I haven't had my mind blown in like so many years. Because I know everything. Like, I hate the fact that I know like everything. The magician guy? Yeah. I've seen some of his stuff before. Pretty cool shit. I still think that motherfucking I can't think of my favorite man's name now, yo. David Blaine. He has another name that doesn't sound like really fancy. David Blaine. But his shit is the best, son. I'll be up here watching, what's that shit? What's that show, when you got a fool Penn and Teller? That shit be hot. The Mentalist. But the guy I'm listening to right now, Matt Dillahunty, he does magic. He's a magician too on the side. He does a couple different things, but being a magician is one of his fucking little gigs, yo.
Because one of the things is that when physicists talk about nothing, they're talking about a zero energy state, not nothing as in ex nihilo, no thing. I've never, and I'm going to borrow from Tracy here. That wasn't me. Or was it? I don't know. Nope. Anyway, I'm going to borrow from Tracy here. I see nothing isn't something you could act upon or do anything to. I don't see how it, even if there was a God that could from nothing produce something. You can't interact, you can't act upon nothing. I've never had a nothing to investigate, and I don't see any problem with the idea that there never has been nothing.
Okay. So, yeah, I just find the idea that it could literally come from absolutely nothing to be a bit absurd.
Well, that's because you're assuming that there's a nothing that something could act on. Maybe if you dump that and start to recognize that maybe there's the possibility that there's never been a nothing, that there couldn't be a nothing, that be nothing is itself a contradiction, then maybe you'd see
I think that the first premise establishes that the Borguth-Vilenkin theorem, the impossibility of infinite, all that, the Vilenkin quote, all that would show that what we're talking about is absolutely nothing.
I don't accept that it gets us to the idea that behind it all is absolutely nothing, but if it does, that also precludes a God.
Nothing that is made up of any sort of like...
Is an entity something?
Yeah, but it exists apart from matter. It's immaterial.
Now we're back to special pleading.
No, because you're talking about like quantum fields and all that. But that's
actually, I wasn't.
We're not, and you're not either.
I'm not sure I understand.
So here's the situation. We can't explore the origins of our universe, and we can't explore any portion of a cosmos, whether it exists or not, beyond our universe. So at best, we can engage in supposition.
Supposition?
Yeah. So we look at this and say, I just can't believe that something could possibly come from nothing. What the hell is that? But I can't believe that something could come from nothing. But I'm quite comfortable believing that there's something magical, something transcendent, timeless, immaterial entity that caused something to come from nothing. And the only way you can get there is by committing an argument from ignorance fallacy, of saying, I don't know what it could be the explanation for the origins, but if I define something and say it doesn't, it's immaterial, it's timeless, it's all of these things, if I define this thing and claim that it is sufficient to bring about a universe, well, then I've solved the problem. And my response to that is, no, you haven't.
Hello?
Hello?
Oh, okay, thank you.
Sure. On that note, we have...
I'm wondering when the destroying is supposed to happen, because he said he was going to destroy us in the chat.
I guess. The thing is, we look at the universe, we can't get beyond the Planck time. We're talking about time as we understand it, began with our universe, under the best models. I'm not necessarily convinced that that's the case, but I'm certainly willing to accept that time as we understand it is a function of our universe.
Yeah.
Matter in motion. That tells me nothing about what might be beyond our universe. That there might be other universes with other times, that there might not be other universes, that there might be a cosmos that has its own thing that we might call time, or that time might not exist, or that there's nothing like along those lines. So we have this big problem. We don't have an explanation for why there's something rather than nothing.
Yeah.
That's huge. And for a species that thrives on going out and finding the answers, to think about us here in the 21st century when we've got computers and instant communication and we know so much and we know we've gotten past this, we've supposedly gotten past this flat earth idea, even though it's getting a resurgence from some folks. But, we used to think that the sun went around the earth, and now we know that that's better, and we can send out probes and space vessels, and we can explore and we learn more, and then we get down to the very, very small and we learn more about the atoms. Our fear of not knowing the answer encourages us to accept answers before they are sufficiently justified. That's how we came to think that lightning bolts came from the gods before we understood electricity. That's how we came to think that dancing around and spreading a chicken's blood around will heal somebody or make it rain.
Or lamb's blood on the doorpost will keep your firstborn from dying.
Getting to the point where you acknowledge that you don't have sufficient evidence to justify a particular conclusion is the beginning of finding the correct answer, rather than just accepting whatever answer comes along. And I get it. It is, when you look at this, you're like, I just can't believe this could have all come from nothing. And then you have physicists who are saying it did. And yet, when they talk about nothing, they don't mean nothing in the same way that you do. And then you have other physicists say that ultimately, we can't have an infinite regress. We can't have an infinite regress. And yet, what are they proposing as a solution? Something that is eternal, which is just another word for infinite.
Right.
Oh, no. Infinite and eternal are different, because eternal is outside of time. It's not bound by time. Cool. How can you demonstrate that something can in fact exist with no ties to time, when existence is necessarily temporal? Something that exists for 0 seconds isn't eternal. Because if it is, then the rainbow-colored uniform that farts frosted cupcakes is eternal. It's existed for 0 seconds. It's eternal.
And you can't prove that it's not.
And by the way, you atheists are just proposing that the universe popped into existence. No, I'm not proposing to have any explanation for the origin of the universe. What I'm saying is, the people who are running around claiming to believe that a God exists haven't made the burden of proof, haven't made the case sufficient to convince me. And if you're going to call in, as he did, and I understand why you're convinced of this, but he wasn't arguing for the God, any God, that the overwhelming majority of people believe in. This is the most damning thing about theism. There are people sitting out in the pews in church every Sunday who believe that Jesus was raised from the dead, came down as atonement for their sins, and that their acceptance of this, by God's grace, will get them to a better afterlife. There are people who believe that Muhammad was the last prophet of God who revealed the most important truths to develop the religion of Islam. There are people who believe that the Xenu, the ancient warrior, threw people into volcanoes and really hate psychiatrists. There are people who have beliefs about a God. And yet, people will call in and say, oh, well, what I mean by God is something that is timeless, eternal, blah, 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 describing qualities that are not accurately understood, that have all sorts of problems, that are beyond human comprehension. You cannot possibly comprehend eternity properly. You can at best comprehend an abstraction of this. When I was a believer, the God that I believed in was as real as the trees outside, which is why I'm happier to have people call the show to say, look at the trees, because at least they're making a teleological argument. At least they are engaged in something that ties to what people ultimately believe. The caller that just called in doesn't tie to anything that anybody really believes unless we strip away every...
There wasn't anything political about anything he said. He's using scientific terms. He's being scientifically accurate. Scientifically accurate. That you don't know. No one knows. And the people who say they do know, like, oh, I know for a fact. When you say that, and then someone says, prove it, and you can't, then now you're forced to say, well, I don't know. Well, that's what I've been saying the whole time. I don't know. And I like this guy because he says, I don't know either. He actually believed in his soul. He doesn't believe that we have souls. All we have is a consciousness, and nobody knows what consciousness is. The soul is made up. People want to have a soul so bad. So they can say, oh, my soul is going to go somewhere when I die. Then what is your soul made of, and where does it come from, and how do you acquire a soul? How does God distribute souls? Where are souls at before human bodies get souls? Did God just keep them all in his pocket and then send them down here? If God loves you so much, then why would he be able to take your soul or let you lose your soul or condemn your soul to an eternity in agony and pain, burning in fire and brimstone at the hands of one of his own angels who betrayed him? All of this shit is nonsensical. When you say the shit out loud in a common way, it doesn't make any fucking sense at all. At all. We are aware that we are aware because we are conscious. Our consciousness is a derivative of the interactings of our nervous system trying to make sense of the external world around us. How does the consciousness manifest itself? We don't fucking know. But is there a fucking soul behind that shit, or a spirit or something behind it? No. Everybody creates their own reality. If you want to think you're being tormented in some demonic state due to your lack of belief in your God or your blasphemy or backsliding, and now you've lost your soul or sold your soul to the devil for material wealth and gain, that shit is all psychological, bro. Which means you're just a little bit nutty, you know? And there's nothing wrong with that, because technically we're all a little nutty in our own ways. You know, what's so great about being sane all the time? You know, you can't be sane all the time. So when you lost your soul and now you feel like your life is a living hell and shit, hey, just remember, your life is decent enough for you to have internet. Think about it. Your life is good enough for you to have internet. You're trying to rationalize what? Not having a soul? The missing piece. I wouldn't know how that felt. You know, I felt longing for people. I feel a wanting for individuals that have passed away in my life. I have cravings and habits that when they flare up, it's like you want something immediately, especially when you don't have it. Like zebra cakes. Ooh. So I have that kind of like, oh, there's something missing. But, you know, on some esoteric type level shit, like, I don't feel anything at all missing in my life. Like, I don't feel like there's a hole somewhere that should be filled with my heavenly spirit. I care. I actually do care, bro. I care about this shit more than you know. I'm thinking about making a stream called The Black Atheist. Because I don't hear enough black atheists talking about atheism and trying to help other people overcome their fears of losing their soul or some crazy shit, because it's all nonsensical and you have been fed a bunch of bullshit for the duration of your life, and now your mind has somehow constructed this false reality that makes you feel incomplete as a being. And that's not cool, bro. That's not cool. You know, basically you have been mentally tortured for your entire existence by whoever have put these ideas and concepts in your head that makes you feel like at this present moment you are not complete. You know? I don't want people to feel like they're missing a part of themselves. I want everybody to feel whole and complete. Like me. But that shit takes a lot of education and reprogramming. I'm just one of those lucky people, like, I never bought into the bullshit, like, ever. Never since I was a child. Like, I couldn't deal with the bullshit. I don't know why. I honestly feel lucky that my mind is like that of a steel trap that clenches and latches on to logic and reality, and it lets religion and superstition blow in the fucking wind. And my mind has always been this way, where, oh, don't step on the crack. Fuck that shit. Oh, don't let a black cat cross your path. Fuck that shit. Oh, don't sweep my feet with the broom. Don't walk under a ladder. Don't break a mirror. Don't take the Lord names in vain. God damn it, fuck that shit. All that shit I ain't never had no fucking interest or fear in that shit at all. And so for the ones who have got caught up in this goddamn ancient pagan way of thinking, I be feeling bad for y'all, man. Because y'all lives just seem like it's so much harder. Because you pray for shit and it don't work, and then you feel lonely and lost and like you're not whole. Yeah. I don't know, because I trusted everybody in my family to educate me in a proper manner. But obviously you can't trust everyone, even when they blood relatives. Because if they don't know no better, then how they gonna teach you? They're just like teenage parents. Oh, I had my baby when I was 16. 16? You don't know shit when you 16. How you gonna teach some shit to a kid? And adults get the same way. Some people can go through their entire life not knowing that they don't know, and then still pass on this sanitized reality to their offspring, training them to think in a certain manner, which will ultimately lead to depression and uncertainty, low self-esteem, and immoral behaviors. This is all too common. Well, thanks for sharing. Oh man, my arms are getting tired.
Everything tied to every religion. And then what you have is an abstraction that you can't demonstrate, that you can't understand, and yet you're claiming is more probable than not. Probability is a calculation, and it is based on prior evidence. How many other universes are you able to explore? None. How many cosmoses are you able to explore? None, unless the universe and the cosmos are synonymous, which we don't know. How many gods can you demonstrate? By his own admission, none. You want to talk about verbal and mental masturbation? Professional apologists, desperately seeking to justify their unjustified and unjustifiable, potentially, beliefs, are engaged in the most inane, twisting, oh, it must be this because we can't think of anything else, fallacy. It must be this because you can't prove the other one wrong, fallacy. Well, it must be this because based on what we understand, this isn't possible, fallacy. What you understand is not equivalent to what is or isn't possible or impossible. Possibility and impossibility need to be demonstrated, and the rest of it is just talking out of your ass. Happy Easter. We'll see you next week.
Don't just attend the holiday party. Bring it.
We have Matthew in North Carolina. Thanks.
Hey, how are you doing?
Pretty good. Thanks for waiting.
I would like first to give a shout out to my friends on the Atheist versus Christian Debate Central Facebook page. They had encouraged me very strongly to call you, and I was not going to do it today, but fortunately I had a chance to do it. I am a Christian, and I debate on this page pretty often. I just have one question for you and maybe a follow-up question. I know that you acknowledged being a Christian for years up into your early adulthood.
Are you talking to either one of us? Because that's true for both of us.
Yeah.
Yes, well, you specifically. By the way, if any of you have children, happy Mother's Day for Jen.
Okay.
If you have children.
I do.
I'm not sure. Like I say, I keep up with the show a little bit, but I don't know a lot about your lives. But every once in a while, I tune into the show as far as on YouTube after it's already been recorded. But my question for you, Matt, was since you acknowledged believing Christ as a child,
well, as an adult.
Okay, yeah, up into adulthood. Hypothetically speaking, if you were to die and find out just everything in the Bible is true, could you ever stand before God and say, I never had enough information to believe you existed?
Yes. And moreover, if I were to die and find out that everything in the Bible is true, I would have enough integrity to identify that God as a moral thug.
I've heard that plenty of times from atheists, so I'm not surprised.
Well,
so
if everything in the Bible is true, then God sanctioned slavery, and that's immoral.
Well, as far as slavery,
actually, Matthew, because that's my go-to thing that we do over and over again. Instead of, let's just pretend like I didn't mention slavery, and you can answer your follow-up.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. So you said that you could stand before God and say, I never had enough information to believe you, even though you admitted believing in him as a child.
Yes, because it's possible to believe things for bad reasons, and the reason I don't believe is because I found out that I had bad reasons for my belief and could not find good ones.
Okay, now this is my follow-up question, and that's really it. Since you agreed that you believed in him for the wrong reasons, so to speak, as a child.
And an adult.
Could you acknowledge that possibly there is a such thing as a no true Christian, as you know, Anthony Flew. There is a such.
Be able to have an input in the new generation and some script.
Anthony Flew coined the phrase "no true Scotsman."
Okay, he didn't, but
a common argument. Could you acknowledge that I did not really understand what I was believing?
Actually, you might have. You're asking me if I can acknowledge that. I think you're asking me.
Yeah, that's why I read the Bible and I study the Bible and I read through the fucking Quran and I read other theological works as well as atheological authors and works. And I grew up in a very religious family where my grandmother was a preacher. And so I know the Bible better than most people. That's why I don't believe in it. Because if you ever sit down and really read the Bible, you won't believe in it either. Church is a book club for people who haven't read the book. That's all it is. And you know why they make the preacher the preacher? He's the only person who read the whole damn book and studied it and understands it for the most part. And you know what else? That's why he makes all the money off the church, because he sees it as a tool just to make money. Because we're going to pass this offering plate around. and take a donation for the building fund, which is actually his car payment and his mortgage payment. And over and over and over, you see all these evangelical Christians all going down for some dumbass shit because they don't believe in that shit neither, because they read the book and they know what it's about and they don't believe it. So yeah, you can obtain knowledge from both sides of the spectrum. Have you ever gone to the other side of the spectrum? I'm on both sides, bruh. I've been on both sides. Most people who believe in a God won't even research why they believe in this God. What is the true origins of their religion, of our any religion? No one knows. The Jehovah's Witnesses, because we know we're so right, we're going to come to your house and tell you how right we are. If you keep saying that everything this dude said is a lie, oh, every time his voice goes up, he's lying, like, I don't think so. I think this is probably one of the most honest atheists I've ever listened to. And I honestly think before he would ever try to tell a lie, he would just say, I don't know. And that's why people don't like him. Because he's not lying about anything. He just says, I don't know.
And correct me if I'm wrong, that my view of Christianity when I was a believer may have been the incorrect view. Like there's some other version.
That's not necessarily the incorrect view, because I watched your deconversion story on YouTube, and you said you went before you said you accepted Christ into your heart, kind of believed all that stuff.
Yes. Which
is very common if you study the Bible. It pretty much is open about children accepting Christ, coming to Christ from the mouth of babes. God has ordained praise. They naturally know, according to the Bible, it teaches that they naturally know who their Creator, who God is. And you kind of demonstrated that there as a child.
I don't understand your question, so maybe try and phrase it one more time.
Well, okay, the second part is, since you acknowledge believing for the wrong reason, does that mean that you're not a true Christian to begin with?
Okay. Yeah. I actually have a video I posted about this, and I think it's on my YouTube channel. It may be called something like, was I ever a true Christian or something like that. I have to look it up. So there is a longer answer to this, in part because it came up in discussions with Ray Comfort. And my answer is this. If your definition of true Christian is someone who actually has a relationship with the risen Christ, then I was never a true Christian. But I also don't believe anybody else is, because I don't believe there's a risen Christ to have a relationship with. If your definition of true Christian is someone who is convinced that they have that relationship, then yes, I definitely was convinced. And I think probably one of the biggest things that'll maybe make this clear for you is I recently did a debate with Mike Licona on the resurrection, and I did it at an unapologetics conference in a Baptist church. And members of my former church, the First Baptist Church of Harvester in St. Charles, Missouri, that I hadn't seen in 30 years, flew down here to attend to this debate, and one of them got up during the Q&A to basically say, hey, you may not remember me, but back when you were active in the church, we all expected you to go on to great things and, all the sorts of things that you would expect from someone in the youth group who everybody expects to be a minister. And his question was basically, what happened? So not only was I convinced that I had this relationship, but the people around me, family and church members, were also convinced of that. So whether or not I was a true Christian entirely depends on how you want to define it.
Okay. So, one last question. As far as this past October, you moderated a debate between Ehrman and Price.
Yeah. And
you had kind of admitted that Ehrman done a better job presenting the evidence than Price did. Did any of that persuade you towards, hey, maybe Price is a historical figure, or is that something you're still kind of wrestling with?
I don't have any problem with the idea that there may have been an actual person. I think, for me personally, I remain unconvinced of the mythicist position, which would assert something, Jesus did not exist, that I don't think they can demonstrate. My position is there's still a big problem here, because if Jesus existed, and if he was divine, and if he died for people's sins and was resurrected, etc., these facts should be wholly unassailable. They should be the most clearly attested, obvious. There should be no possibility that someone could object. And so while I'm okay with the idea that there's an actual person there, there may or may not been. There may be several people there. But if you look through the Gospels, for example, and start removing everything about Jesus' life for which we don't have independent, reliable confirmation. We can't independently, reliably confirm miracles. We have no good reason to think that the words that are attributed to him, written decades later, are as accurate as some people might think they were.
So you tried to channel some lost relative, an ancient ancestor, some demonic being from the netherworld, and apparently throughout this process of channeling or attempting to channel, you lost your soul and acquired different personalities in place of your soul. All of this without the aid of smoking crack cocaine dope. Pretty impressive. He's getting coal in his stockings. For show. Coal. Huge lumps of it. I was doing the practice. You don't do a practice, you just practice a craft. So I was practicing it for about 5 months. Channeling. The practice of channeling. It's not, I was doing the practicing of channel. Grammar Nazi. I was doing the practice. See, when you say it out loud, it doesn't, no one has ever said it like that, because we don't speak that way. Damn. Not barbecuing Christmas dinner, but hey, after 5 months of trying to channel some shit, I would probably lose a piece of myself and take on multiple personalities as well. This dude said he was speaking to the dead. I was speaking to the dead. For show. Speaking to the dead. Speaking to the dead. Whoa. Are you calling me a racist?
I've heard lots of speeches in the last year. I've heard some that were incredibly important, and I might remember a phrase from.
I can't. I'm actually a counselor, so I just try to help people deal with their issues, man. We all have dogmas in our life, man. We all have childhood traumas, you know what I'm saying, and stress. And some people have been convinced that the world operates in a way that it doesn't, and you just gotta help. You just gotta help people, man. You know what I'm saying? I done played around with a Ouija board before, and you know what? Nothing happened. You know? Hey, it's all fun and games, man. You know what? You know where I bought my Ouija board from? Walmart. Because Walmart just sells portals to the fucking underworld to random kids for the low price of $10.98 or some shit. You know? But back to this trying to channel spirits from the underworld for 5 months. I mean, I saw Whoopi Goldberg in the movie Ghost, and it was good. It was a cool movie. And Patrick Swayze was actually a ghost, and he could like pluck a bottle cap and make it move and all kind of shit, man. But it was just a fucking movie. Bill Cosby played a ghost one time. He died, and he had a whole family. It was called Ghost Dad. It was funny in some parts, but it was just a fucking movie. Don't ask people if they like the Joker movie. That's weird. Personally, I did not like the Joker movie. Only for the subliminal message that they're trying to paint in that film. Yeah, I'm YouTube channeling. I'm gonna channel some other YouTubers right now. Home. My man says he deals with the dark arts. And who is you trying to talk to from the dead? You know what I'm saying? From the other side. Who over there that you really, really want to have a conversation with that bad, where you place yourself in a trance-like meditative state to focus your aura and energy to fluctuate beyond space-time to the other realm. Who over there so bad you want to talk to, man? You know, because when somebody keep me on hold for like a minute, I hang up the phone. They keep me on hold for like a minute, I'm done with the conversation. But, you know, trying to channel for 5 months? 5 months? That's a long time, man. That's a long time. I ain't trying to get in contact with somebody for 5 months without getting a clear answer if they gonna respond to me or not. You know, investing that amount of energy into someone. You dead? You know what? I meant to ask you something before you died. I'm gonna get with you in 5 months after I learn how to master this channeling shit. Oh, hell. Now I have new personalities. You know what, dude? That is a fucking show. That's a show. That's like at least 5 seasons. We can do that shit for 5 seasons. Easy. Like 8 episodes a season, 10, maybe 10 episodes. 8 episodes the first season, and then like 10 episodes for the rest of the seasons. About some dude who lost somebody he really loved. And then he, you know, later on he meets somebody, this spiritual shaman. And the shaman is like, oh, I can see the depression cloud hanging over your head. And then you have like an animation of a real cloud, like raining on them and shit. And then the story progresses. The shaman, you know, teaches him this ancient method of channeling. And, you know, then season 2 can be like that whole 5 months where he's trying to like really figure out how to make this shit works, and it works a little bit sometimes, but he can't really get the hang of it. And then the next season, like, he actually does kind of get the hang of it. And then when he goes to the other side and he sees a glimpse of something, it fucks him up, and now like a part of his soul is trapped over there, and now he can't stop the voices from the dead people talking to him. We need a title for this thing now. What can we call it? A ripoff of every other sci-fi show. But that would make an excellent plot for a TV show. You should write that shit down. You're welcome. Sell your story. Make some money. Rufio and Jahardi, have no idea who that is, honestly. I'm sorry, bro, but I'm out of the loop on that one. Rufio and Jahardi. All right. About all stream drama. Never been about the money. Nope. Is there drama in the streams? What? Like some drama meme? Most people can claim to be wise, but that's just like saying I'm cool. Like, cool people don't walk around telling everybody else that they're cool. Because if you have to say it, then it's probably not true. You know? It's probably not true if you have to say it. I'm just pointing out the obvious. This might not be true. I'm wise. You're probably not. I'm the coolest kid at my school. I doubt that highly. I highly doubt that. You are the coolest. You are that guy. Marilyn Manson paintings? You're Asian? Marilyn Manson say, fuck the music, man. I'm gonna make money selling some paint. And people are gonna buy it. Because it has my name on it. Because I'm Marilyn Manson. You wanna do some hardcore goth paintings? Use Marilyn Manson paint. But don't say shit like that. You won't get banned. He used to look like a drag. Now he's kind of calmed down a little bit. He looks like, he still looks creepy as fuck, but he looks like a guy. Like, well, at least I remember this was like a couple years ago. The last time I saw Marilyn Manson, I watched fucking The Walking Dead. And then after The Walking Dead goes off, there's this show that talks about it called The Talking Dead. And one time they had fucking Marilyn Manson on The Talking Dead. He fucked the whole show up. He was like so weird and so awkward about shit. Like, he fucked the whole show up, but that's Marilyn Manson, you know? Alright, I'm so fucking good, son. So I did laundry. No, well, I went to the gym. I had grabbed a few things from the grocery store. I cooked breakfast. I washed dishes. I did laundry. I took a shower. I did my hair. I'm getting so much shit accomplished this morning, you know? This is one of those nice days where I feel like I'm being productive. Balthasar. Nafaratuzat. Nafaratuzat. The immortal. Alright. Think I got all of those. Keep them in my little Bantu knots for a while. Matter of fact, I can pull up my clothes while my hair is setting. It looks weird right now, right? Right? Looks kind of weird. Looks awkward. I don't think so. I don't think so.
But to think that I could recite the entirety of something like the Sermon on the Mount and not make mistakes is bizarre. And when we have something like the Gospels, who we have no idea who wrote them, they weren't written by Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, so those are names that the church put on them. If we start extracting all the things that are claimed about Jesus and say, this pile over here represents things we can't confirm, I understand why the mythicists are objecting, because the other pile is virtually non-existent. We can't confirm his birth, we can't confirm his parents, his relatives, we can't confirm his death, we can't confirm even the date. They got the dates in the census wrong. They have different genealogies. We can't even confirm that his name was Yeshua, if he was there. Maybe there were 4 different itinerant Jewish rabbis, because we know there were a bunch of messianic figures around this time that got glommed together and had things added to it. I'm not saying that is the case. I'm just saying that it's not absurd to consider that as a possibility. And this is a damning problem for Christianity. The fact that they cannot unassailably demonstrate that Jesus was in fact a real person, let alone that he performed miracles and was divine, etc. So, I mean, I could concede that Jesus existed. I could concede that he did some of the things that are reported and that we have a somewhat accurate record of things he said. And that still doesn't get me anywhere near concluding that he performed miracles and was divine, or that this divine nature was something that I should care about, because when we start talking about the idea of substitutionary atonement, the idea that a God would come down and take human form and kill himself to serve as a loophole for rules that he created, is already absurd and immoral. So the question of whether or not it's true, I don't side with the mythicists in saying Jesus didn't exist, but I side with him in saying, boy, Christianity certainly hasn't and seems incapable of meeting its burden of proof that he did it.
Looking at Jeep Renegade? Compare it to the new 2019 Ford EcoSport. EcoSport has intelligent four-wheel drive to give you confidence in almost any condition. Plus, it has a uniquely designed rear swing gate that's as bold as it is cargo ready. And it also keeps you connected thanks to 4G LTE Wi-Fi for up to 10 devices.
What?
EcoSport also offers an available...
Okay, if Christianity met their burden of proof, everything that you just mentioned, which obviously a lot of that you just mentioned could be debatable as far as who wrote the gospel, stuff like that, because there are, obviously I'm sure you know about several of the books out there that kind of trace that back and do attribute Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John to writing those, which, that's debatable. I'm not really interested in that at the moment.
So no, not even New Testament scholars within Christianity hold to this idea that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John were written by Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. You can find somebody on the fringe of scholarship, just like you can find somebody on the fringe of scholarship within mythicism. But even within Christianity, in Christian,
Josh McDowell, some of those, there's ones I'm thinking about, and I know that
Josh McDowell does not. If Josh McDowell says that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John were written by Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, I'll buy you a steak dinner.
Okay. Well, I can't tell you. James,
but he's still wrong either way.
But here's my view, my position on that. Because it's not their gospel, it's Christ's gospel. I understand why their names are not attributed to it, because we're not actually trying to give them credit for it. This is the gospel of Christ. So
what do you mean by Matthew? What do you mean by it's the gospel of Christ?
Well, obviously, it's the death and resurrection of Christ.
Okay, but if I write a book about Elvis, is it my book or Elvis's book?
Well, it would be your book, obviously.
Okay. Right.
But we're not talking. See, what I'm saying is, Jesus, we don't worship them. You would be acknowledged for being the author. Yes.
Yeah. But so does that mean?
Even if you never wrote the book about Elvis, it wouldn't change who Elvis was. somebody else would have written the book about
Right,
Elvis.
but you don't get to assume that my book about Elvis is factually correct.
No, I'm not saying you get it. And you're an atheist. Obviously, you don't. Obviously,
I don't know what being an atheist has to do with whether or not my book about Elvis is factually
I'm a
correct.
Christian. I obviously I take it on faith that everything written is, as everybody, as you know, as a Christian, the right
we can, Matthew,
live by faith.
Matthew, we can have no conversation then, because if you're going to take it on faith that this is accurate, is there anything that you couldn't take as accurate based on faith?
What do you mean in the Gospels?
Anywhere.
Anywhere.
Couldn't you use faith to just be an excuse to believe whatever you want?
Well, yes.
Okay, so that Matthew means that faith is not a pathway to truth, and not a reliable pathway to truth, right?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not a pathway to truth.
Okay.
Just like
So
you just said, all of that may be true.
Matthew, why then would you say that you accept this thing, the single most important thing, on faith?
Because before I became a Christian at age 19, I read the Bible before. There was a lot of things in it that, well, this is kind of interesting. I don't really quite understand it. Once I accepted Christ as my Savior, I started understanding it much more, started studying it more in depth. And as I started looking at the world through what the Scripture says, and my atheist friends would laugh at me just because I actually say I put my Bible glasses on when I look at the world. And what I have found is what the Bible pretty much says about the world has been demonstrated, as far as I can say, pretty accurately.
Nope.
Such as?
To take it, well, for example, Matt brought up God being an immoral
Thug.
God.
Thug, yeah.
The Bible actually is pretty, and I believe it's Psalms or Proverbs 1, it says, it pretty much says that, there's some will view God as a shrewd God, some will view him as pure.
Yeah, how do you tell which one of them is right?
Well, obviously, if there's some that view it one way and some the other, I would say at least in that instance, the Bible's got it right.
No. I'm saying if somebody, okay, here's this God character that we're told about, and I look at him as an immoral character, and you look at him as a moral character. And when I ask you why you view him as a moral character, it's because you put on your God glasses and take it on faith. How do we tell which one of us is actually right about that character?
Faith. That's all. You take.
I don't need faith, and I don't have any use for faith. And by the way, I don't think you do either. For example, let me ask you this: is it morally correct to own another person as property?
No.
Okay, then why does the Bible not only allow it, but describe all the circumstances you would need to justify it?
Actually, the Bible condemned slavery.
No, it doesn't. Matthew.
Thou shalt not steal. Yes or no?
That had nothing to do.
Stealing it.
Okay, this is the dishonest. This is the dishonesty of putting on your God glasses, because you're not actually looking at Matthew. Let me finish. You're not looking at it with your God glasses. You're looking at it with the God glasses of an interpretation of a particular selection. Have you read Exodus 21?
I just want I just want a simple answer: yes or no. When you take somebody against their will, is it stealing their freedom? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, will you answer my question? Have you read Exodus 21? Yes. What does Exodus 21 say about slavery?
I don't know. You have to quote the verse.
Oh, it's the whole damn chapter.
The whole thing.
And just for you, I'm going to read it.
Which one do you?
I'm going to read it so that you don't say I'm taking this out of context. Exodus 21, this is the NIV. Do you have a preferred version? I can switch real quick.
English Standard Version is my preferred version.
Absolutely.
You can do the NIV. I don't really care, but ESV is usually not.
No, I will go with the English Standard Version. Let me...
Okay.
English Standard Version. Oh, sorry, I picked English Standard Version Anglicanized. I should have just gone with English Standard Version. There we go. Here we go, for fun. Now there are rules that you shall set before them. Exodus 21, beginning at verse 1. When you buy a Hebrew slave, he shall serve for 6 years, and in the 7th he shall go out for free for nothing. If he comes in single, he shall go out single. He comes in married, then his wife shall go out with him. If his master gives him a wife and she bears him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master's, and he shall go out alone. So this is specific. The first few verses are specifically about Hebrew slaves. And it specifically says, when you buy your Hebrew slaves, and it applies to male slaves, it gives you the rules on when they must go free. But if you give them a wife and kids, they remain your property. But if the slave says, beginning in verse 6, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out free, then his master shall bring him to God, and he shall bring him to the door of the outdoor post, and his master shall bore his ear through with an awl, basically pierce it. It's not a brutal, it's, I'm going to tag you like a sheep. Mm-hmm. And he shall be his slave forever. So already we have a way, just with regard to the slavery of the Hebrews, that you can essentially trick and result in having a Hebrew slave that is yours forever. But it gets worse than that. Sorry?
You would consider that a trick?
Well, yeah.
Hey, I bought a slave and I have to let him go after 6 years, but if I give him a wife and he wants to stay, he's mine forever. Yeah, I consider that a trick. However, Matthew, the fact that you focus on that as a trick, rather than the fact that already we've shown that it is possible and encouraged by the Bible that you can buy slaves and that you have a specific treatment for Hebrew slaves and that you can still end up with Hebrew slaves that are yours forever, don't focus on the trick. Focus on the morality. Take your guy glasses off for a second, or your selective guy glasses, and continue. Okay, because I'm not done. I'm not done. I'm not.
I like Ghost Recon Breakpoint, but they made it too much like The Division. I don't like the gear score system, and I don't like the player hub system on there. Those are probably my main two gripes. With the gear score, you constantly find pieces of gear and armor and different weapons, the exact same weapons with just a higher gear score on it. So your inventory gets filled really quick, and you have to constantly break down weapons and sell gear that you're not using, and it's like, it's such a fucking waste of time. It's ridiculous. Like, they added this whole extra layer in there for no reason. The raids are kind of fun, but really, really difficult without a lot of instructions on how to actually beat the raids. So I have still yet to do that. But the story plot about the guy, he's kind of like a Elon Musk type guy who has his own island with all the best technology and drones and shit out there. I think it's kind of believable. But it's like both of them. Like, The Division had the shit with the gear. Like, oh, your gun, your gloves will give you a percentage on this and a percentage on this, and your boots and your knee pads. And well, I remember that's how the first one was, at least, because I hated that so much in The Division Part 1 that I didn't get The Division Part 2. And so, yeah, it's kind of like the first Division, where you had different scores and percentages of whatever on individual pieces of gear and armor. Damn. Mayoga Wolf, I do not speak French. Sorry, bro. I mean, and the thing is, it's not even an old game yet. Breakpoint just came out within the last few months, and it's like I haven't played it in a couple of weeks because I can't find a squad of guys who are willing to communicate well enough to beat the fucking raids. I wouldn't mind getting through a whole raid, but I swear, like, it takes 4 people, and all it takes is for one person to swear down he knows what's the right way to do it. I'm that guy. I'm the one player who knows the right way to do shit. But anyways, like it's so hard and just to communicate, and everybody gets frustrated. And so lately I keep hearing people, oh, there's a hack for it. There's a hack. If you do this and you do that, and then you can beat it. And it's like, I don't want to fucking hack this shit to beat it. There's a way you should just be able to beat it. Want to play it for the thrill? Oh, damn. A bunch of goofy know-it-all people. I don't know, that one guy speaking in French. I hate blocking people, but this motherfucker just keeps putting the same message in there over and over. We're not speaking French in here, homie. And you're taking up too much of the message board, so sorry for you. Ghost Breakpoint. Breakpoint is on sale for $20. I would say get it. Just the campaign mode alone is good. It's for a $20 game. You don't even have to play co-op or even get online and play PvP. Just the campaign alone for $20. I'll pay $20 for the campaign. Like I said, there's a lot of other shit in there. They added. They took shit from The Division and from what's the other Tom Clancy title, Siege. And so I don't know. And that's what I was really liking about all the Tom Clancy titles that are out right now. So you had Ghost Recon, you had Rainbow Six, and you had The Division, and all of them had their different type play styles. And different setups as far as the leveling goes. And now they're taking aspects from all the games and trying to incorporate them into one game when they should have just left the games as their own standalone qualities. Like, that shit was good before, and Ghost Recon didn't need to have the same features that you got from playing The Division. Like, they didn't have to implement those changes in there to keep the game fun. The game was already fun as shit. Yeah, Ghost Recon is that classic title, yo. Yeah, that Ghost Recon was the shit, yo. And that's why I'm like, and I think I had like one of the earlier Ghost Recons on like the PS2. I can't remember what it was. It was the same time that when SOCOM was out. And I remember having one of the older Ghost Recons. And then I also used to love the Splinter Cell shit, yo. They ain't make one of those Splinter Cells in a while, but those shits kind of got repetitive after a while too. But I don't know, the innovation in the last Ghost Recon, the Ghost Recon Wildlands, yo, the innovation in that game, yo, the map, the scale of the map, the vehicles, the guns, the shooting mechanics, like the story was pretty good. Like everything about it was nice. It was this big open world, and you and your homies can go in here and take down a fucking cartel, yo. And it was very streamlined. It was easy to get accustomed to playing it. Blacklist on PC. Nah, I don't got no. I mean, I got a couple laptops, but they're not like gaming. They're not gaming compatible, yo. Like, because like just put Steam on your laptop. I'm like, dude, I just have a regular fucking laptop, bro. I don't have a gaming PC. Exactly, bro. That first one was so good. So good, yo. Wildlands was such a good game, yo. And I think it killed the initial fan base because it wasn't released with PvP. But that shit didn't even matter to me for like the first 5 or 6 months. It didn't have fucking PvP, and the game was still fucking good, yo. It was still just you and your homies in there co-op. If you guys are not on my Instagram, and that's odd. Where's my fucking tag at? I just realized that. Yo, my fucking tag isn't up there. Oh, I had a system update. Y'all guys had a PlayStation system software update in the last couple days. I think I had to update my shit yesterday. It was yesterday or the day before. I had a fucking update for the shit, but now I'm looking at the screen and yeah, my fucking title bar that's normally along the bottom of the screen with my information is not fucking there. Why isn't it there? What happened? Where did it go? I swear, bro. So now I gotta retype all my shit in on the fucking screen. But if y'all go to my Instagram, I posted some new art up there yesterday or the day before. Yeah, that shit should. My fucking caption bar should be up there, yeah. There it goes. Yeah, I don't know why this shit just disappeared either, bro. Like, I never touched those fucking settings. I mean, I don't have a reason. I put the title bar up there and... Well, I used to have Twitch and Tumblr. It said, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, Tumblr. But I'm hardly ever on Twitch, and I fucking don't use Tumblr at all anymore. So, mostly Facebook and Instagram. So, I just left that. Because I don't have, like, Snapchat and WhatsApp and... I don't know what else is out there now. All kind of shit out there. TikTok and... Oh, I just went to the settings, just like you said. I went to fucking broadcast settings and had to go all through this shit and type all that shit back in there. It was the... But like you say, I don't know why it went away, and I've been in here for almost 3 hours, and I just realized, like, yo, what the fuck, my information bar isn't there. Hey, what's up with that? It's back now, and like I was saying, I did just post a new painting yesterday. So check out my Instagram or my Facebook to see my new art at Painting. Oh my fucking god, I can't goddamn it spell. Paintings by the Prince, not Paints by the Prince. I don't know what the fuck I typed it in first time. Paints by the Prince. It's paintings. Paintings by the Prince. And I think I can take these out now. Damn, that boy got some long ass hair. All right. Got them dreads done. What? Looking like a little movie star over here. Looking like a little movie star. You know what I'm saying? Looking like Idris Elba little brother. Yeah. Ain't got no hair tie. You know what? Fuck tying that shit back. I'm gonna go throw a do-rag on it real quick. My mouth still dry. Alright. Let me go grab a do-rag. Had to do right down here the whole time. Oh, so these are your multiple personalities speaking. All of them. Everybody's trying to talk at the same time now. Interesting. And one of them is a racist. So that's why you getting banned, because one of your new personalities is like some racist character. That's fun. That's entertaining. All right, so what's next? I know my phone about to die. I need to put this shit on the charger like now. So my last painting has 519 likes on Instagram. I need more likes than that. Y'all guys need to help me get more likes on Instagram. I want everybody to like my art. And this is why I hate going on social media, because it will fucking draw you in. What the fuck? All right, look. This is why I see why people don't have Facebook accounts and all that shit, yo. Because this happens. Yo, anybody ever watch The Office? Stanley. Yo, Craig, Stanley and Craig. I ain't gonna lie, yo, motherfucking Daryl Schrute, man. Schrute Beat Farm, yo. Man. Bruh. So I watched The Office for a while, man. And I'm from South Carolina and shit. So I watched The Office, and it just so happened that I moved to Pennsylvania. And I moved to fucking Scranton. And so the first time I was downtown Scranton, and I went to the mall, to the Steamtown Mall, and it's like big ass posters of The Office. Then they got this one shop that looked just like the Dunder Mifflin shit. And I'm like, yo, why they so much Office stuff in y'all mall? There's like, cause this is Scranton. And I'm like, okay, but why are you guys celebrating The Office so much? And there's like, because this is Scranton, where the show takes place. And I'm like, this is a real place? He's like, yeah. Bro, I thought that shit was just, I thought Scranton, PA was just made up just for the TV show. Yeah, I swear. And then like when they have their, well, not anymore because it hasn't been on the air for years now, so it's just reruns and shit. But like they said when the show was still like active, like in its prime, and it was real popular. There's a huge Irish community over here, yo, and they celebrate that fucking St. Patrick's Day and all that shit. And I think Scranton's St. Patrick Parade is like, it's ranked in the nation. It's like the 3rd or 4th largest one in the nation. And the cast, they said a couple of years in a row, the cast from The Office would be a part of the parade and, you know, do pictures and signings and stuff when that shit was hot. This motherfucker kept dodging, kept turning his head. He's like, nigga. Ain't you the guy from that show? No, I'm not. Man, I'm just trying to have some dinner, bro. Like, shit. Well, I never met like celebrities in person. I've met famous people who I would consider celebrities. Damn. But not like the people I met, they're not like actors or rappers or no shit like that. Like I've met some famous ass artists. To me, they're like huge celebrities. Wow, that's crazy. I got? Emails. I heard the mailman drop something off just now, and I got the old ass door, right? Where I have my mail slot is in the door. Like there's a little opening on the door. You lift the thing up and you slide the mail in the door so it falls in the house. And so when I heard that the mailman came, I heard a piece of mail fall inside, and the way that the paper kind of like hit the floor and the sound that it made, I can tell it was a bill. And now I don't even want to go pick it up. So I'm gonna just let it sit right there for a little while. Let that bill marinate where it's at, and think about all the pain it's about to cause me. You know, them bills sound different than just like a letter from a family member or a friend, or, you know what I'm saying, an invitation somewhere. That shit sound happy when it comes in the house. Like, shoo, here's the invitation to our Christmas party. That bill came in the house, man, that envelope hit the floor like, don't. No life in that shit at all. That shit sound like the motherfucking gas bill. You son of a bitch. I ain't gonna lie, man. My cars, that shit was heavy, bro. That shit was too heavy. That shit ain't sound like no party invite. And that shit wasn't no goddamn sales papers neither. The sales paper come in laughing like, ha 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 ha. You got some coupons. And then it'd be all those papers, so that shit ruffle. How that shit come in the door. You can tell a bunch of sales papers. You know what I'm saying? That shit, you might as well throw a brick through my window. How that shit sound. Don't. Like, what the fuck? That shit had to be a bill. I say, man, my car's got me fucked up these past couple weeks. Man, I had to get fucking my heating system, brakes, an alternator. Like, bro, kick out damn near $1,000 in a week of unexpected bills. I'm crossing my fingers that nothing else don't pop up, yo. Like some other dumbass shit. Like, I don't even want to try to even think of anything, you know? But it's like, fuck. Dude's like, your brakes, $175. You're gonna need rotors soon too. Oh, you need an alternator, $270 or $280. Oh, you need a blower motor for your heating system, $220. This is the time where I swear to God, I wish I had food stamps, bro. Like, then you go grocery shopping, that's $200. Like, what the fuck? Is that the minimum I can spend on any bill? Like, can I get something for like $75, $80? Something. Something still has to cost less than $100. Anything? Is there anything? Motherfuckers want at least $200. Just keep your hand on the door like, no, get this bill out of here. Bruh, I'm on child support. My son don't live with me, but I pay for that little nigga. I'm on child support. Come on, man. Well, that shit be rough sometimes. Every time you save a few dollars, you get that unexpected knock. Who is it? your car's fucked up. Your water pipe's broke. It's like, what the fuck, son? It's me, Bills. Bills? Why you keep coming back here month after month? I just gave you some money last month. What the fuck you did with all that shit? Now you're back here again. Talking about give me. I get tired of hearing that shit, man. Damn it. It's a big ass house, bro. Man, even my gas bill, $200 something. I'm like, God damn. Do I have to sleep with a jacket on in order to like I don't know what the fuck, yo. Oh, Life, that bitch, hey, she gonna eat all day. You gotta keep her happy. I'm telling you, Life is a bitch, man. She like to snack and nibble and have 4-course, 5-star cuisines off of your hard-earned back and sweat. Oh, Life is a bitch, yo. And she gonna get hers. Are you gonna die? That's it. That's the only two options. You gonna pay this bitch what she want, or you just stop living. That's like, you ain't got no other choice. Yo, I'm telling you. She thick with it. That's why everybody want a piece of it. And just because life is so beautiful and it's so good, like living is the best thing ever. Because if we didn't do it, we would be dead. But life is a bitch, yo. And that shit costs to be alive and experience all this beauty. And it shouldn't really be like that. But that's how some people have it set up now, you know? And hey, either you gonna play the game or you gonna get out the way. You ain't got no options, bro. Ain't no options. You gonna fuck with this bitch and know she crazy and you don't know what gonna happen from day to day, or you just take your own self out your misery. I'm telling you. And she gonna get hers. If you can't give it to her, if she gonna get it for everybody else, then screw it. Shit. See, this is why I draw and paint. Yeah, same to you. You. Alright. Then I had some health issues come up. I've been going to my doctor a lot lately. You know what that means? More bills. I got like 4 doctor bills over there. Every time I look at them, I cry a little bit, like real tears. You're like, fuck, son. I gotta move to Canada, Norway, or somewhere, man. Shit. Nigga about to go in debt. I've been debt free for almost 40 years. You know how hard that shit is? But then I be thinking about it too. Like most people got a couple $1,000s in debt. I might as well just get a credit card and ball out, bro. Like, fuck it, nigga. Catch me when I'm gone, bitch. Shit. I ain't Sweden. Cause I ain't never had a credit card, bro. And everything I got, like I own. I own everything. But I'm thinking about getting a car payment. Just like trade both of my cars in as a down payment towards some newer shit. And then every month they go another $200 and something bill. How much your car payment? $213 a month. Like, god damn. Can I get that shit for like $110? You know what I'm saying? Oh, you ain't got You ain't got no credit. No credit worse than having bad credit. Like, that shit don't even make no sense to me. No, don't make no sense to me. How no credit worse than bad credit? Bitch, I started from zero, not negative. At least I can see the one. Man, y'all can't even see the one way back there. You so deep in the hole. I ain't in the hole. I just ain't never started climbing the mountain yet. Then they say, oh, well, get yourself a credit card and make a few purchases and pay it off. I think them motherfuckers be trying to trick you, bro. Trick you into goddamn debt. Fuck that. I got a secured credit card through my bank on my bank account. And I did that. I bought an airplane ticket. I rented a car one time. And I bought a plane ticket one time. I immediately paid that shit off. But that shit don't be feeling right. Like, oh, well, if you pay it off too fast, it don't work. I can't understand that shit. That's why I ain't gonna fuck with it. If I pay it off too fast, huh? So you want me to pay the shit off slow so I can pay the interest? So I have more interest payments? Oh. That's why I ain't got no 401k neither, man, because I don't understand that shit, really. I kind of understand it, but at the same time, it's just like a savings account. And, oh, well, but the company adds so much towards it, too, at the same time. But, man, it's just like somebody else holding my money. And then if you want to end your 401k early, you got to pay a penalty and so much percentage, and you can borrow money from it, but then there's a penalty on that, and it's like, how about you just save money, man? Just save your own fucking money. It's some complicated jargon, but basically it's saying, look, man, if you give us a certain percentage of your wages and let the company keep that percentage so that we can invest. Normally companies invest your money into the stock market. Yeah, a company makes whatever products on this and that, but at the same time, different components. Like, I worked at a fucking plastic manufacturer. So we have a company that makes bags and boxes for shit that we ship out. And the company that I work for would invest in stock in these other companies. And it's weird what they do, but basically the company makes money off of your money, and they say, well, if you let us use this, we'll give you this amount, but you can't touch it until you 70. Until I'm 70. What? Well, you can borrow against it, or you can take, if you fully vest it, you can close it out, and they only take such a percentage of it. Nigga, just save your own money and invest. If you want to flip some shit, invest in your own stocks and shit instead of letting somebody else hold that shit. But I mean, I get it. I got a 401k too. It's like you say, most companies just give it to you now. And the last company I had, it was like it was a zero pay-in, so it was a win-win. It was like a real retirement program, but they was like, oh, you can pay into it as well. But the company, they gave you a 401k, and they pay like 4 or 5% into it, just for every employee, and they had a really good life insurance policy, really good benefits. I mean, I worked for that company, and goddamn, vision was free. Every 2 years, you can go to your doctor and get a free checkup, free glasses, frames and lenses. most dental shit were like cleanings were free. You can get 2 free dental cleanings a year. And any kind of minor oral surgery was like hella cheap. I had to get a wisdom tooth taken out, and I had to get a crown put on one of my teeth. And like before the bill, like without insurance, man, that shit was like $3,000 worth of work, like $2,800 or some shit. But with my insurance, I paid like $1.90 for that shit. I was like, yo, I paid like a fraction of that shit, yo. But like I said, they gave us a 401k, but just having like some people, that shit is mandatory that if you want to open up a 401k with a company, you have to pay so much into it before the company matches you up to a certain number, whatever they choose it to be. But and that's the thing too, like, yeah, it's like, okay, you want me to put 7% of my weekly fucking earnings into a 401k account, and then I'm getting taxed state, federal, city, goddamn Social Security, Medicare, and it's like, what the fuck, yo? Like, y'all taking like sometimes $90, depending on how much you get paid, $90, fucking $120. I've then had up to $140 just in taxes alone, and then my child support, and it's like, that's shit. And then, I mean, like, the healthcare was good, but you still had to pay for your healthcare shit. It's like, I don't think I need the 401k. Like, I don't think I want that. I don't want to sacrifice. But then that's the one thing too, that, I mean, having a retirement plan is pretty decent, and it is that the idea of not wanting the quick reward, you know, just being patient and knowing that like shit'll get better later. So, you know, you tell a kid, hey, I give you a piece of candy. I give you one piece of candy right now. And you can have this piece of candy, you can eat this piece of candy. Or you say, if you wait till tomorrow, I give you 2 pieces of candy. Most people want the instant gratification. They're like, fuck that, I'm not waiting till tomorrow. Give me this piece of candy, I'm eating this shit right now. But some people do be like, I gotta wait till tomorrow if I get 2 pieces. Some people will wait it out. I want my candy now. I don't know if I'm gonna be here tomorrow. I got a headache right now that might take me out at any minute. You know, this could be like a brain aneurysm or something. I don't know what's gonna happen. I want all my luxuries immediately. I really should go up to the studio. I feel like taking a nap though. I done did mostly everything too. The last thing I had to do was fold up my clothes. Did that. Oh, I do need to put gas in the car, and I need to go back to the grocery store. I went to the grocery store this morning and grabbed like some breakfast shit, and forgot to grab some goddamn peppers. I took some chicken out so I can make some stir fry. I ain't got no fucking peppers. All I got is onions, And I got some broccoli. You gotta have them peppers in that shit. Oh man, my phone died. Alright. While the phone charged, I might play some fucking Titanfall real quick. Or I could play that fucking Ghost Recon. But they gave us Titanfall free on the PlayStation Plus. If y'all only got PlayStation Plus, man, I always advise getting that shit just because you get 2 free games every month. Most of the time, I don't even play them shits. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like some of the ones that I think about playing, that I'll just download it and put it in my library. I got like over 100 games in my library. So if I ever did get really, really bored and wanted to try something, I could definitely like download it to the system and just play that shit. PvP on Breakpoint is pretty good. It's better than the last one in a way because you go into the PvP with the gun designed the way you want it to be, unlike on the first Ghost Recon. The guns were kind of set, and I don't think you could change the clip size, or there was a lot of aspects about the weapons that you couldn't change. I haven't played Wildlands in a minute, but I always remember like thinking like when you go into there, and there was a lot of guns you can select from, but in the PvP, I don't think you could like customize the gun really. You can select different guns, but it was very, very minimum customization. I think you could change like the scope or something, but the PvP in Breakpoint, however you build your character in the co-op mode or in the campaign mode, and however you customize your guns, I think you go into PvP with that same customized loadout. So it's not like the last one where you had different classes, the sniper class, and then you had the different characters with different abilities. It's like everybody is everybody, and you go in there with the whatever the fuck you got, yo. But there aren't any drones, and there's pickups on the map where you can find a drone on the map and you can scan it that way, but I don't think you can carry. Let's just fucking play this shit, yo. Let me stop this stream, which is another weird thing. I hope on the next console that they can have a way where you can change aspects of your stream without ending your stream. Like now that I want to play a game, I have to end this fucking stream, load the game up, and then start the stream back over again. Where I don't see why, like I'm already streaming now, why can't I just like go from here and like start the game and continue streaming? But anyway, let's do Ghost Recon Breakpoint PvP for a minute.